רבים לא יוכלו לכבויסס אהבו.
Go to our website, which is HebrewLearningCircles.org. Go to Jewish Resources, scroll down to Parsha Videos, and you'll find the source sheet right there.
We're going to focus on the very first verse of Parshat Devarim. Ele hadvarim asher diber Moshe kol Israel. These are the words that Moses addressed to all Israel. And here it lists, it appears as if it's listing the place where these words are being delivered. And the place is, and the list is a long geographical marker. It appears as if this is kind of cross-referencing different places so we can pinpoint where this is happening. Just an appearance, according to Rashi. And it goes like this: Be'ever HaYarden, on the other side of the Jordan, Bamidbar, through the wilderness, Ba'arava mul Suf, in the Arava, near a place called Suf, mul ben Paran uven Tofel, between Paran and Tofel, Velavan v'chatzerot v'dizahav, and Laban, chatzerot and dizahav. This is beginning the book of Devarim, which is it's a long speech by Moses to the people as they are camped right by the Jordan River and about to cross into the land. Moses is not going to cross with them. Moses has been told by God that he's going to pass away, return to his maker, right at that time before the people cross. Joshua is going to be the appointed new leader. And this is Moses's farewell speech, where he's going to the entire book of Devarim, of Devarim means words, is Moses's recapping of the history of the adventures that they had gone through together in the desert, and reminding them of all the laws of the Torah that is actually the glue that holds them together as a people, and reminding them of their commitment to uphold those laws. It starts in this curious way, and the Ishbitzer here is going to ask, Rashi is going to ask the following questions. Why does the Torah list multiple geographical markers that aren't even accurate if you check it? Why does Rashi, and this is the famous commentator, and this is a famous commentary, why does Rashi teach that these places actually allude to the sins committed in each place? Now, why is Rashi saying this? Because Moses starts by rebuking the people, by reminding them that they were stiff-necked people, that they had complained, doubted God's intentions, doubted Moses' leadership, and in that sense, they sinned. They were after they committed to the Torah and to the relationship with God, they lost heart multiple times throughout their travels, and complained to Moses about why were they destined to die in the desert? Couldn't God have killed them back in Egypt? At least they had enough food to eat, etc. So this is a sinning that Moses is pointing out. And Rashi is saying, look, these places actually allude to the sins committed in each place. They're not geographical markers, but they're reminders of what happened in those places. And then the Ishbitzer asks, why didn't the Torah refer to the times and dates when sins were committed instead of to the places where sins were committed? And we're going to see that the Ishbitzer considers that very crucial, that if the Torah is actually choosing, or Moses, for that matter, is actually choosing to allude to those sins indirectly, why then not choose to, as is common, remember the days, remember that time, remember another time, etc. But no, Moses here is choosing to allude to those sins through the places. Remember Arava, the wilderness, Arava, Suf, Paran, Tophel, Laban, Chatzerot. Those are all places where the people were complaining against God. And then the Ishbitzer asks the questions: are sins or spiritual failures? And here, this is a failure of trust on the part of the people. Remember, after the revelation, this is not spiritual trust based on an expectation of people who just blindly trust or intuitively trust. This is after people had the revelation, right? The ecstatic experience. That the Midrash says that even the lowliest maidservant had an experience of the divine at that moment. So the people have the revelation. They have this a connection, this divine a moment of altered state, and nevertheless they fall into doubt and into mistrust after that. After they have committed Na'aseh v'nishma, they say we will do, and then we will understand, etc. So and Ishbitzer says, is that spiritual failure inevitable? That we're also a couple of weeks before Tisha B'Av, the time when we are mourning the destruction of the temples and all destructions that our people have experienced over the centuries. It's a time of mourning, of grief, and of self-reflection. Megillat Eicha, when we read that during the ceremonies, observances of Tisha B'Av, we admit to our shortcomings, that our sufferings are a result, a consequence of our own spiritual failures. And that is kind of the essence of Tisha B'Av. So the Ishbitzer here is touching on a theme that is very apropos to this time as we're preparing for Tisha B'Av. Just to give you a little bit of the end at the beginning, the Ishbitzer in typical fashion has a message of compassion, self-compassion, and let's see how he gets there. And he says, העניין מה שמכנה את חטאי ישראל על שמות המקומות ולא על שם הזמן. When Rashi teaches us that Moses is actually alluding to the sins of spiritual failings of Israel through mentioning the names of the places and not through mentioning the times, the calendar markers. Remez bazeh, it hints to us, comes to teach us, שלא יחשוב האדם כי חטאם היה נגד בחירתם, that men and women, humans, should not think that their sinning had anything to do with their free choice. It's interesting, because the whole idea of free choice is that we have the choice to choose the correct path or the incorrect path, right? And he says, don't think that you even have the choice, or you even have the choice. And he continues, שהיה להם בחירה לפרוש מן החטא. To be more specific, that they had the choice to not sin. The sins that we have between us and our Creator, right? This is spiritual sinning. He's not referring so much to failures in relations with others, but really to our core essence as divinely modeled and created human beings. And he continues, Al zeh meramez inyan hamakom. How do we know this? This is hinted in the choice to allude to the sins by mentioning the places where they happened. Why? Shelo haya be'efsharut leishamer michata'in velazuz lemakom acher. Because space, so the choice between space and time, what is more fixed? What is more hard, space or time? And he says space. If the Moses or the Torah chose to allude to the sins through the time, the calendar markers, time is malleable, time moves, time flows. So one moment leads to the next, and they could have chosen to delay the sinning. Okay, I have an impulse to sin. Let me hold off, and in the next moment that impulse is going to disappear. He's saying no, but the choice was for geographical markers, for space, and that is hard. When I come into a space, my sinning is fixed. It's embedded. It's part of the soil, right? So he says, therefore, they had no choice, because those places were the places where they had to actually experience the falling, experience the failure. And Rashi alludes to that in actually specifically by saying that, why does Moses use the names of these places? Because Moses is rebuking them, but Moses wants to soften the blow, to sweeten the bitter pill. Moses chooses not to name the sins directly, but just to allude to it, because Moses wants to be compassionate, be soft in the way he's rebuking Rashi, and he shows how each one of those geographical places, for instance, Arava Arava are the plains where they had sins through Baal Peor, and then he says why Suf. So in Suf they were rebellious at Suf is the Red Sea. They were rebellious because when they arrived at the Red Sea, as it says in Exodus chapter 14:11, they complain. This is because there are no graves in Egypt. That you have brought us to die in the wilderness, etc., etc. So Rashi is claiming that Moses is being gentle in Moses' typical compassionate way, but the Ishbitzer is taking this to the next step. He's saying, why is Moses being gentle? Because Moses recognizes that they had no choice, that he needs to rebuke them, but he can't rebuke them because they're actually not at fault, because their complaints and mistrust, their spiritual falling, is par for the course of their journey. And he's saying that this is a message for all of us, that we need to aspire to be perfect. We need to aspire to be in compliance with our commitment to being fully spiritual, fully human, and fully connected with the divine as we have been created in the divine image at all times without failure. But when we fail, we should be compassionate with ourselves and know that failure is actually a built-in factor or element of the process of our growth over time towards the divine. We all be blessed to have that memory, that awareness, strive for the most, and be compassionate with ourselves when we have obstacles on the way. Thank you for studying with us. See you again next week. Shalom.
Hey, thank you, everybody. Again, click subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything. We really appreciate that. Like to have that extra layer of connection with you. Like and subscribe. Come back.
מים רבים לא יוכלו לכבויסס אהבו מים רבים לא יוכלו